school football game of the week on Cox Cable 8 from Citizens Field in Gainesville, but GHS and Buchholz ready to go at it now, and the Canes facing a 3rd and 4 from their own 24-yard line with 10:18 to go in the first period. Keith Brown, the quarterback, and they give us to Michael Howard, and Howard is across the 25 to about the 27. He's going to be short of the first down by about a yard. Dentel Nash, Bob DeLisio with you from Citizens Field in Gainesville tonight on a tough inter-city rivalry between Buchholz and GHS. Looking for a good one tonight as we've had all year, Bob.
Already count on the first series, some hard hitting, particularly by Buchholz. Michael Howard that last time on that run up the middle, jolted hard by Willis. And now the Canes are going to have to be forced to punt, and Buchholz will get their first possession.
Keith Sartain is the GHS punter with Lamar Thomas standing deep at his own 35-yard line. Sartain gets it away. Decent kick. It'll be Thomas coming up and getting it at his own 40. And Al Moore brings him down at the 36-yard line of GHS. A loss of 4 on the return. Nice play on the special teams by Al Moore, the fullback.
Al Moore, as you said, a fullback showing some great speed. First man down, and a beautiful stop on Thomas, who has great speed himself. Thomas actually lost a few yards on that return. So a good play by GHS on these special teams, and these teams really fired up. We had rain earlier, right before game time, a heavy downpour, and that should affect the ball game somewhat. We'll talk a little bit more about that.
Glenn Alexander, the quarterback for Buchholz, will have Wayne Moore and John Allegheny in his backfield as Lamar Thomas is in motion to the left, and they give us to Wayne Moore, the fullback, and he pounds his way to about the 40 to 41-yard line.
Moore that time eluded the grasp of Al Moore, who probably was a little bit winded from getting down on that kickoff, and picked up a couple of yards. Both these teams have great backfields. And, of course, when you talk about Buchholz, you have to start with John Allegheny, their senior tailback, who had such a superb junior year last season. Bobcats come into this game undefeated. Canes come in at 3-1. Buchholz very impressive last week, Ken.
Moore got 3 to bring up 2nd and 7 from the 40, and now they're going to switch balls. A little wet out there. 8:39 to play in the first quarter. No score, just getting started from Citizens Field in Gainesville. And they give that time to Keith Howell. Howell's across the 40 to about the 42.
Well, a superb individual effort by Keith Howell to get extra yardage on that tape, because Stan Pardue came shooting through from his defensive position, and actually that should have been a loss on the play, but as it turned out, good individual effort that time by the running back for Buchholz, picked up a couple of extra yards.
Now Robbie Matheny is into the fullback along with John Allegheny on 3rd and 4, and Alexander's back to pass. That one is batted away at left. The pickoff by Corey Jenkins. Jenkins makes the interception at the 45-yard line. So the first big turnover of the night. That's only the 2nd interception Clint Alexander's thrown all year. But what a time to do it. 7:48 to go in the first quarter, and GHS with the first big break of this ballgame.
It was Corey Jenkins with the interception that time, Ken. Jenkins, we know he has great hands from last week with a tremendous reception for a touchdown. And now the Canes with the first turnover take over at the Buchholz 45. Again, the field is wet. That may come into play, and it may have on that pass by Alexander.
Brown looking to throw. He's looking for T.J. Weakland, but he overthrows him. Gary Willis there making contact with him. We're going to get a flag. There's a little bump and run going on as T.J. Weakland was heading down the sideline. Gary Willis, the senior defensive back, a little bumping, and we'll see the flag.
Nice throw by the young sophomore Keith Brown, and Brown was punished from behind that time. Coming in from the outside defensive end position for Buchholz, making a hard hit that time, I believe was Stanford Moore.
Bobcats will be penalized 15 yards.
But it'll be a 15-yard penalty against the Bobcats on the interference play.
So 7:19 to play first quarter. Our high school football game of the week on Cox Cable 8 from Citizens Field as Keith Brown brings his GHS Hurricanes to the line. Al Moore gets the give across the 30. Forced back by the Buchholz defense, but he should be down to about the 28.
Stop made by number 73, George.
Host of defensive people there to greet Moore, Kevin Peoples, George Fleming among them. Fleming, only a sophomore, starting defensive tackle. Very, very good prospect for the Bobcats on the right side of that defensive line. Bobcats alternate their tackles. It's very interesting the way they shuffle them out. Coach Warnicke's defense has been very successful with that strategy.
And now in the power backfield, Linnell Singleton, Al Moore, and Michael Howard. And Howard gets the call. And he's down to about the 26-yard line. Some hard hitting going on out there tonight.
Michael Howard to what?
Hard running by Michael Howard that time. Kevin Peoples with the tackle. Flag on the play, and I believe it's going to go against the Canes, Ken.
The indication is a personal foul against Gainesville. He puts it down on the foot.
Looks to be a major infraction against GHS. And it'll be 15 yards against the Canes for a personal foul.
Hey, that shit was behind it. He couldn't see it.
So that'll set the Canes back 15.
Personal foul against the Canes. Ball now spotted at the 41. The play is still going on. We're missing a man. We're missing a split.
And again on third down, Brown with the give to, no, he's looking to pass, and it pitches off to Al Moore, and Moore is down to about the 35-yard line. We've got another flag down.
Pitch goes to number 31, Al Moore, knocked it about 547, Gary Willis of Buchholz.
Well, that was a very interesting call by GHS. It was a fake to the inside, looked like a play-action pass, and then a nice option that time to the outside to Al Moore. Picked up a couple of yards as it froze the Buchholz linebackers that time as Moore got outside. But what we're going to have is another penalty, and again, it looks like, since they're talking to the Buchholz defense, as if it's going to go against the Gainesville High Purple Hurricanes. So, 2 penalties apparently in a row against the Canes.
Holding, but the Bobcats will decline it.
It was third down on the play there, Ken, so it appears as if Buchholz will decline the penalty, although it would have pushed the Canes back even farther, and just choose to get the ball as GHS is out of field goal range, and Sartain in again to punt. Lamar Thomas again deep to receive.
From the 36, Sartain to punt. High snap, but he gets a hold of it. It's a line drive shot, should go into the end zone, and does, for the touchback. So with 5:53 to play in the first quarter, Buchholz will open up shop. They were not hurt by the interception by Clint Alexander. And they'll try it again. Now Alexander will have John McClain split left, Lamar Thomas on a wing right, Robbie Matheny and John Alganey in the backfield. And Thomas goes in motion. Alexander with a give to Matheny. Matheny's across the 20 to maybe the 22-yard line.
Alexander hands off to Robbie Matheny.
Again, these kids really showing some good footwork here in this wet field. Robbie Matheny just kept those legs grinding, trying to elude the grasp of Al Moore, who made the first contact in the backfield, and it went for a gain of about 2 yards. We mentioned the field very, very wet, and it should get even worse as the game goes along. We expect to have a little bit more rain later this evening.
Now 2nd and 8 from the 22. And Alexander looking to throw. Going left, throwing long for Lamar Thomas. He's got his man across midfield to the 40. 35, 30, and finally pulled down out of bounds by Barney Walker at the 25-yard line of GHS.
Well, Barney Walker bit on that fake that time. It looked as though he was going to throw a slant, and Walker had his eye on the quarterback, not on the defensive man. And Thomas just scooted down the sideline. Walker knew he was beat. It's just the fact that he possesses such tremendous speed that he was able to recover and make the tackle way downfield.
53-yard hookup between Clint Alexander and Lamar Thomas.
Now we got 53-yard pass from Alexander to Thomas.
And now 1st and 10 from the GHS 25-yard line. Pitch to Jimmy Norman off the right side. Brought down about the 20.
Jimmy Norman on the carry. Stopped by Al Moore.
Jimmy Norman, a young man who creates excitement every time he comes into the game. Only a sophomore, had one man out in front of him, number 63, Scott McDonald, but there were 3 Gainesville defensive players over there, Al Moore and the ex-quarterback Gene Scott coming up to make the tackle. So Gainesville with a good defensive play on a very dangerous runner.
Norman was the Cats' leading rusher coming into this game, had 184 yards, tied with John L. Gainey for tops in the ball club. And now 2nd and 5 from the 20, rather. Alexander to throw again. Pressured and drops the football, but Buchholz should have it. Back at about the 24.
Wally Craps was the guy that came up with that ball. Shooting through for GHS that time, Ken, was Jim Dow, a sophomore linebacker who hasn't seen that much action earlier in the year. And he was the one that caused the tackle. Actually, we'll check that. 65 is Jim Dow in the program, but we understand now that that's Nat Fuller, a young man who quit the team earlier in the season and had to sit out a few games. He's now been reinstated. As we said, he sat out a few games. Fuller was a starter last year, a very, very valuable ball player, also is a good punter.
And now another flag before we can have the 3rd and 9 play from the 24. The Cats took too much time. That'll cost them 5 more.
5-yard penalty being marched off against the Bobcats for delay of game.
So 3rd and 14 now from the 29 with 3:40 to play in the opening period and no score between Buchholz and GHS. Johnny Dickerson goes wide left. And now in motion again, Lamar Thomas. The pass is Alexander, pressure, rolling right. Gets it away under pressure, and he gets it to his man, Mickey Mulberry, but Mulberry is hit by Gene Scott. They're going to call it incomplete. Mulberry must have dropped it before he hit the ground. Nice hit by Gene Scott.
Well, they originally announced that was complete, but that's going to be incomplete. On the play there, the linesman, Jimmy Stevens, was right on the play, and he said the ball hit the ground. You know, Alexander just showed some tremendous talent that time. Had that been in the NFL, he would have been considered in the grasp and been down, but even with a man draped all over him, he was able to get an accurate pass off.
And they'll go for it on 4th and 14. Thomas again in motion. Out of the backfield, and Gainey is hit hard for first down.
I have no idea how John L. Gainey held on to that ball because he was just absolutely decked by Al Moore. 2 great plays by 2 superb ball players. I'll tell you what, this is the game of the year, no question about it. These 2 teams really want to get it on. Tighten up the trim straps, folks, because we got a long way to go in this one. No score yet. Buchholz and Gainesville.
Take over.
And 3:20 to play, and the clock running in the first period.
At their own 26.
You might think, well, why would they go for it on a 4th down like that? Just out of field goal range, no point in really punting. Why not go for it?
And now Wernicke has confidence in his offense, which had been averaging just about 150 yards a game. Michael Howard gets the carry on first down. He's across the 45 to about the 46.
Michael Howard, who I have said all along, hits the line quicker than anybody I've ever seen play for GHS, and I've seen a lot of. He got into the open field. He saw David Frazier coming over, put a move on Frazier that just left him, and it had not been for the good recovery by Kevin Peoples, Howard would have been in the end zone. Great play by Kevin Peoples pursuing from the linebacker position. You cannot give up, even if you're beat, when you got a Michael Howard out there.
Howard's still in there in the power backfield. He gets the give again. Maybe about a yard.
Again, that's what you have to do with GHS and Michael Howard. Get him at the line of scrimmage. Again, Al Warnicke's strategy on defense, rotate the tackles, that 4-4 defense. That time, it was a new man just into the game. James Dennis, I believe, was the one who came in on the tackle. Todd Harrison also there.
Now Howard comes out. Barney Walker is back in the ballgame. With Al Moore, the fullback, along with Linnell Singleton. Second and 9 from the 46. Brown is pressured and dropped by George Fleming. We're going to have a flag. They may call that roughness.
By number 64, Robbie Hudson, and number 84, Todd Harrison. That's a flag on the way.
You saw it. George Fleming came bursting through that time on the play-action pass. Buchholz was not fooled, but a little extra action that time. Maybe Rodney Young or one of the others who came in late. A little over-aggressive, and a personal foul penalty is called against Buchholz, and it'll be an automatic first down for GHS. You're going to get that, Ken, in a game like this when these two teams who really do not like each other. Let's not make any mistake about that. This is a huge spirited rivalry, to put it very conservatively, and we've had a lot of penalties here in the first quarter. Both these teams are prone to be penalized a lot, but you'll especially see it in the early going to this ball game every season. Be sure about it.
So 3rd and 4 now from the 47. They give us to Michael Howard again, but Howard's going to be stopped far short of the first down by Buchholz defense. Sebron McCray and a cast of thousands.
Howard shot for no gain.
Call it no gain, and now Keith Sartain will come in to punt.
Again, Buchholz, tough to run in the middle against them. Once in a while, you're going to break it in the open. I guess that's what Coach Gunnar Paulson's strategy is, but very, very tough team to run in the interior against.
They're giving up just under 50 yards a game in rushing on defense. Snap bounces to Sartain, but he gets it away. A wobbly kick that goes out of bounds. Bob Pulley almost made the catch. Sports writer for the Gainesville Sun, but thought better of it, let it go. Don't want to get anything.
Well, Sartain, yeah, last time hit a ground ball into the end zone. It was a nice punt, a low liner on a wet field. The ball almost died. That time he got it out of bounds a little earlier than he wanted to, but he's a good punter, and I think he'll zero in and get one of those coffin corner kicks off before the game is over. You can be sure with these two defenses, and both teams have good ones, we're going to see a lot of punting from each of these kids. Sartain and Dickerson for Buchholz.
Alexander has Dickerson and Lamar Thomas as wideouts. Mickey Mulberry, the tight end. And before we can run a play, we've got an official timeout as they get a spare ball off the playing field. Robbie Matheny and John Algainey, the running backs, behind Alexander. Just 58 seconds of play in the first quarter. No score, but it's been an exciting first quarter. Lots of hard hitting. John Algainey with the ball. He's across to about the 25. Corey Jenkins wrapped him up there.
GHS does not have the only player that can cut back against the grain and trick those linebackers over pursuing. That time, number 55, Charlie Morris, over pursuing the play that time. Gainey came in on him, but it was a nice play by Corey Jenkins and a solid hit on the fine running back for Buchholz, John Algainey.
Now John McLean checks in at split end, and Alexander fumbles the snap. No,
I think Matheny got it. I think Matheny got it for Buchholz.
Someone did.
We tried to get to this, Ken, at the beginning of the show, this wet field. They say, well, who does it give the advantage to? My opinion, it always gives the advantage to the underdog, generally. So I would think that this was a big advantage, having a wet field for GHS. For this reason, all things being equal, if both teams are running on a wet field and they're having trouble moving the ball, you would think that would give mentally an edge to the team that is not normally expected to stop the other. So if both teams are stopped, as they were in the first corner, you have to think that mentally that would favor the underdog, and in this case, that's GHS.
First 12 minutes are in the books. We start the second quarter. No score from Citizens Field, but a good game. And Bobby, as if this game needed any more rivalry, next year the Cats will be dropping back down to 4A and will be competing in the same district once again with GHS and Eastside, so that'll add even more to this game, just like it used to be before the creation of the 5th division in high school football.
Buchholz has already won one game in the district against Rains, and GHS victorious last week against Vanguard. But believe me, they play this every bit as hard as a district game. Some people think even harder, if that's possible.
On 3rd and 7, Alexander looking for Mulberry, and he's got him to the 40. He breaks the tackle of Bonnie Walker. They're going to say his knee was down at the 37, as Gene Scott couldn't bring him down, but got that knee down. And that's where they'll call Mickey Mulberry down.
Very fortunate that time. Gene Scott on the defense was going for the interception. You're going to take chances sometimes. That time, the senior quarterback was able to get the ball right in there out of the outstretched arms of Gene Scott, who now is playing defensive back full-time. So Buchholz with a good game, but it could have been a lot worse for GHS had that knee not touched.
13-yard hookup, and now on 1st and 10 from the 38. Matheny and Gainey still in the backfield for Buchholz. Alexander pressured and sacked, brought down by Al Moore at the 28.
That's the biggest penetration we've seen from Gainesville on the quarterback all season long, led by Al Moore. The way they came through that time, Ken, you would have think the Buchholz was setting up a screen pass, because you really don't see that many people coming through on that big Buchholz offensive line all at once. Alexander really never had a chance that time.
Now Matheny goes out, and Wayne Moore comes back in. Big fullback, is a good blocker as well as a good runner and receiver. Again pressure, but this time it is the screen to Moore. And Moore is hit hard. Linnell Singleton at the 33-yard line.
Well, we've seen Linnell Singleton do that for a couple of years. We saw him many times last year here on Cox Cable Channel 8 as we followed GHS all season long. I'll tell you what, this is not going to be a game where either of these quarterbacks or even the running backs, as talented as they are going to be padding statistics. Defense is going to dominate this game, and it has, at least for the first 14 minutes of this ball game.
Call it 3rd and 14 now from the 33-yard line. 10 minutes to play in the half. Alexander again pressured and stopped again in his backfield. Nat Fuller was the first man there.
Again, GHS blitzing with a lot of people coming through. Nat Fuller, who was the starting nose guard last year, came through. And I'll tell you what, if he didn't get him, Willie Johnson would have. And Johnson's playing the best game we've seen of him all year long. Alexander, who they say last week can absolutely devastate Titusville, has really had some problems in this series here. Just has not been getting the blocking.
That's the way to effectively neutralize a great quarterback, and that's what GHS is doing. A snap bounces to Dickerson. He gets it off, and he's dropped. A short punt. Corey Jenkins leveled Johnny Dickerson as he tried to get that.
Jenkins and Stan Pardue came through there. You saw that the ball was snapped low, and it was a great effort by Johnny Dickerson to pick it up on the scoop and hit it. The referee, who is standing right back there, Bill McCall, the head of his crew, says that's roughing the passer. Now, of course, you hear the GHS coaching staff, who shares the booth with us, screaming in the background that ball was bounced and that it should have been considered a fumble. And in that case, there should be no roughing the kicker penalty. Gunnar Paulson already on the field right now, but it looks as though they're going to mark it off. As you see, Bill McCall marking off 15 yards, automatic first down for Buchholz. And Gunnar Paulson on the bottom of our screen here is just asking for an explanation. And Bill McCall just points and says, personal foul, first down, roughing the kicker. So that's going to be very interesting to get the interpretation on that, kid.
And it gives the Cats new life at their own 40-yard line. 9:14 to play, and now we're going to get an official timeout. No, GHS will call a timeout. I guess Gunner wants to talk this one over.
Well, Gunner couldn't get Bill McCall's attention that way, so now he's going to be able to go on the field and ask him face to face. And they're going to say, we'll talk it over on the sideline. That's the only reason he took that timeout. Believe me, he's not at all dissatisfied with the way his defense is playing. He's not worried about his defense at all. This was just to get the attention of Bill McCall, who threw that flag in the backfield. No question about it, the ball did bounce, but what is the interpretation? I guess his interpretation was that the man had recovered the ball enough to be a punter again, and was not trying to advance the ball as a runner.
The ball skipped.
Anyway, our first controversy of the game results in a personal foul for roughing the kicker against GHS, and Buchholz gets a new life. 1st and 10.
Give to Wayne Moore up the middle. He's to about the 43, 44-yard line. Gene Scott again to stop. Tripped him up.
Now, we see how GHS has been blitzing through, getting the good penetration. That time maybe a little bit too much penetration as they were caught on the trap play. Al Moore got an arm on the runner, but it was Gene Scott, the safety, who came up and made the tackle. Nice undercut to take the man off his feet. Two wide receivers going to the right now for Buchholz.
Give Al Moore 3 on that. Bring up 2nd and 7 from the 43. Give to John O'Gainey, and Gainey's wrapped up as he crosses the line of scrimmage.
You got to believe the way that Buchholz has been running their offense here on this series is that they're setting up for a big pass. There's no doubt in my mind. They've already been beaten GHS once long, and I got a feeling they're going to try it again very, very soon. This could be well, this is a natural passing down, so I'm sure GHS won't be caught off guard here. And I think they're going to try to pick on Tony Hayward. That's my opinion.
3rd and 7 from the 43. Alexander tried to check off, it looked like, and now he's going to call timeout.
Well, you know, Alexander's a senior, and he's got the control of the team out there. He can call it when he wants, but you saw Al Warnke walking on the field, and he wasn't too pleased with that timeout right there.
Open for your convenience on both sides of the stadium tonight.
Next week, the Bobcats will open district play at Jacksonville Forest, and GHS will continue their district schedule against Lake Weir up in Chandler.
We mentioned that Buchholz last week went down to Titusville, and Alexander looked very good. Of course, that was the place where head coach Al Warnke made his name known with a tremendous ball club or two. And they were saying, where did you get this quarterback that you're bringing down here to dominate us?
We'll have more details in the 4th quarter, and you must have a program to be a winner.
So we're finally ready to go on 3rd and 7 from the 43-yard line. Glenn Alexander has John McClain and Lamar Thomas as wideouts. Wayne Moore and John O'Gainey in the backfield. Play action, Alexander looking for Thomas, but it was just short. Thomas slipped on that wet field, and the pass goes incomplete. So 4th down coming up.
Incomplete. 4th down. In punt formation for the Bobcats is number 88.
Johnny Dickerson to punt again. Tony Haywood standing at his own 25.
Is number 21, Tony Haywood.
7:42 to play, and the clock stopped in the 2nd quarter. No score from Citizens Field. Dickerson gets the punt away. A nice high kick. Hayward at the 21. Across the 30. Finally dragged down there by Robbie Matheny. Good play on the Buchholz special teams. Seven-yard punt return by Tony Haywood, so first and 10 from the 32-yard line of GHS. Tony Taylor and TJ Weekland split wide. Keith Sartain's the tight end. Michael Howard in the backfield along with Linnell Singleton. Keith Brown, the quarterback. And Brown looking to throw quickly on first down. Was looking for TJ Weekland, but Gary Willis had the coverage.
Number 18, TJ Weekland is incomplete. Defending for the Bobcats, Gary Willis, number 47. Second down.
Brown looking to hit Weekland on that quick slant. Apparently Weekland didn't look for the ball. It'll bring up second and 10 from the 32. Now Corey Jenkins goes into a slot right along with Tim Taylor. Give to Michael Howard. Howard wrapped up in the backfield on the draw.
Brown hands off to Michael Howard, number 6.
Dale Warren, the first man to get him.
Stop for loss of 1 by Warren.
Warren, one of the smaller members of that Buchholz defensive front, only about 180 pounds, fought off the block nicely and made a clean hit right at the line of scrimmage.
Come on now, let's get those people fired up and in the play. He came right down chasing. Hey, let's keep it that way.
They get to Howard for a loss of 3, so a third and 13 from the 29-yard line. Brown looking to throw again. They're going to call that incomplete. Batted down at the line of scrimmage. And it'll make it fourth down.
That one sort of slipped through his hands. Dale Warren that time came rushing through along with Rodney Young, and he tried to half pull it back and had some people in his face and just slipped out. But since his arm was going forward, it's an incomplete pass.
Barricaded one formation. Into receives number 1, Lamar Thomas.
Sartain gets it away. Thomas at his own 37. Cuts to the near sideline, but he's put out of bounds there by Stan Pardue.
Well, Sartain on those punts, when he hits those line drives, when you're deep in the opponent's territory trying to hit the corner, that's a good kick. But when you hit a line drive, when there's not that much hang time, gives a guy a lot of time to return it and get upfield and get his speed going. And that time, Lamar Thomas, who you know is a dangerous return man, got some good yards. In fact, brought the ball all the way into GHS territory, where it'll be first and 10 for Buchholz on the 49 of the Canes.
6:06 to play in the first half. Still looking for our first score of the game. Wayne Moore and Jimmy Norman, the running backs, behind Clint Alexander. And pitch left to Norman, right to Norman. Norman is wrapped up and put out of bounds by Al Moore, Linnell Singleton, and Barney Walker.
Gainesville linebackers, Ken, are playing really the best game of the year thus far. Al Moore, Linnell Singleton not being blocked and just able to keep their feet moving cross field until they just beat the man to the corner and knock him out of bounds. Only a gain of 1 that time. GHS linebackers really doing a good job on defense today. But again, I really believe that they're setting up the long pass.
They've got the folks to do it on 2nd and 8. And he hits McLean. McLean is down inside the 35 to about the 32-yard line.
That was a little slant in that time, and it was in between Tony Haywood and Corey Jenkins. So Jenkins was beat on the play once, and he was beat on the play second, because when Jenkins stood up on the play, he was absolutely leveled by Todd Harrison, and there's a flag on the field, and that's going to be a personal foul against Todd Harrison for unsportsmanlike conduct for hitting Corey Jenkins for no reason whatsoever, as the play had long been past him. Again, these two teams just like to get a shot in wherever they can, and a little over-exuberance that time on the part of Todd Harrison. It's going to cost his team 15 yards, and I'm sure he's going to hear it from Coach Warnicki when they see the films of that, if he hasn't already.
So a 15-yard gain and a 15-yard penalty puts us right back where we started from at the 47-yard line.
The first down is credited to the Bobcats. And the personal foul, a big ball personal foul. First down at 25.
And now the Cats have quite a bit further to go for the first down as it's first and 25. Pitch right to Normand again. Normand gets a couple good blocks, and he hurdles through the air. Gene Scott and Barney Walker hit him, and he went through the air and came down at the 42.
Well, as we see to the GHS defensive backs, they're coming up very low. They're supporting the run, and they're coming up low. We saw Gene Scott do it earlier, and that time Barney Walker coming in low and upending the running backs. Again, that was a first and 25 call because the personal foul against Harrison occurred after Buchholz had gotten a first down. So it was first and 25. There's a gain of 6. Second and 19 for the Cats.
Give to Moore up the middle on the trap. He's across the 40, gets outside. He's got decent speed for a big guy, and he's down to the 25, maybe the 20-yard line before he's knocked out of bounds.
You're right about that. Wayne Moore with great speed. Linnell Singleton caught on the trap among other GHS players. And before Singleton can run him out of bounds, a big, big gain for Buchholz, in fact, enough for a first down. We saw last week against Vanguard, when Vanguard made the comeback in the second half, it was the trap play that beat GHS, and you know Coach Warnicki saw the films, is taking advantage of it right there.
Wayne Moore was averaging 7 yards a carry coming into this game. A 20-yard gain there. First and 10 from the 20. Give again to Moore. Down to the 16.
Buchholz comes right back with the delay to Moore. That time Al Moore makes the tackle along with help from Stan Pardue. But again, they know that GHS has been rushing hard and sometimes shooting those linebackers, and they are prone, no question about it, to give up some big gainers with the trap and delays.
And now GHS will take a timeout with 4:20 to go in the first half and no score from Citizens Field. Cox Cable Aid's High School Football Game of the Week. Glad to have you with us tonight for Gainesville High and Buchholz. Ken Tomash, Bob DeLessio with you.
GHS now having used its second timeout of the ball game with 4:20 remaining in the first half. Bobcats have taken one. Game which has been dominated by defense thus far. Two powerful clubs. Buchholz 4-0, ranked in the top 5 in the state. And GHS comes in with a record of 3-1. Of course, GHS, his only defeat was to a very, very powerful and ranked ball club up in Tallahassee. There hasn't been, Ken, many times in recent years where both GHS and Buchholz put a powerhouse on the field at the same time. It's usually been one up and one down. Most recent years, Buchholz has had the upper hand. But this year, it appears as though they've both got some really, really strong teams.
And now on 2nd and 6 from the 16-yard line, John McClain will go in motion right. And they give again to Wayne Moore, but he's tripped up in the backfield. Stan Pardue got a leg on him and tripped him up.
Ball carrier number 44, Joel Gainey.
Again, GHS getting penetration. Stan Pardue that time made the hit.
Finished off by number 31, Al Moore.
Okay, watch your face.
No gain.
See.
So no gain for Wayne Moore, and on 3rd and 6 from the 16. Give again to Moore. Moore is down to about the 10. Is close to a first down.
What an effort by Gainey. Bounced off 3 tackles to get that extra yardage. And now it's going to bring up a very, very interesting call, Ken. About 4th and maybe 2 yards. About a yard and a half, maybe.
4th down. 1 yard to go.
Well, we saw earlier on a 4th and long from about the 35-yard line, they went for it. And now, Coach Warnicke calling his second timeout of the half. And I got a feeling with the Buchholz kicking game not being the best it's been, that I got a feeling they're going to go for it. At least they'll try to let their senior quarterback, Clint Alexander, maybe catch GHS off sides and get an automatic first down. But I'm sure they'll line up first to go for it.
They talk about this rivalry, and one team being up and one team being down, and Buchholz having the upper hand most of the recent history. The Cats have won the last 5 games in this series. The last GHS win came in 1980 when the Canes were 26-0 winners. That was a couple years before Al Wernicke came on the scene. So Wernicke 3-0 against GHS in his career at Buchholz. Last year, a 28-14 win by the Bobcats. And now with 3:15 to play in the first half from Citizens Field in 1986, a scoreless game and 4th and 1 from the 11-yard line. Moore and Gainey, the running backs. Lamar Thomas, the only wideout. Alexander will keep it. He should have the first down.
Alexander keeps. First down.
Alexander did get just enough for the first down, and now 1st and goal. Just inside the 10-yard line, 3 minutes to play and the clock running in the first half.
Hey, we're screwed up. We don't have anybody on the tight end.
Give to Gainey. Gainey is to about the 7.
John Alexander on the carry.
For 10 minutes.
Gainey had a hole open up early. It looked as though he had a sight in the end zone there, but it was closed quickly by Gene Scott, among others. Ben Waller's in on the defense. And now GHS calls its final timeout with 2:33 remaining in the half. So, very interesting that the Canes would call timeout here to align their defense.
Well, this has been a tight ball game. They don't want to take a chance on making any mistakes the way they've effectively pretty much held the Cats' offense in check thus far. Where they are driving, and this will be the 10th play of this drive.
Boy, I tell you, you mentioned earlier that it's been that long, since 1980, since GHS has defeated Buchholz. I hadn't realized it had been that long. Of course, GHS state champions back then. They had some great ball players. Victor Bradley was their leader, player of the year in the state. Bubba Dukes and Rusty Watson, a couple of big men on the offensive line. Good senior ball club they had then. Dennis Allen, who went to New Mexico, had a scholarship. Of course, the next year, Eddie Feely came in and really turned things around. Went from a 26-0 loss in the final game of that season to defeating GHS quite handily, 21-0, and it's been all Buchholz ever since.
And now 2nd and goal from the 8. Give again to Wayne Moore, but Moore is going nowhere. In fact, he lost a yard.
Double loss of 1 at the 9-yard line. It's third down.
You're not going to get it.
Now Lamar Thomas, John McClain, the wideouts. Mulberry, the tight end. On 3rd and goal from the 9 with exactly 2 minutes to play in the half. Alexander looking for Thomas in the end zone on a timing pattern. Thomas in and out of his hands. Tony Haywood defending on the right cornerback spot. Breaks up the pass.
They call the fade pass Lamar Thomas. He looked like you thought he was on a pogo stick the way he went in the air. And he just dropped the ball, and I thought maybe on defense that there might have been deflection of the ball on the way down by GHS's Corey Jenkins, but I couldn't tell from here.
Robert McCarthy hits a 25-yard field goal, so the ice has been broken. 3-0 Buchholz. They don't get the touchdown, but they do get 3. And And a minute 48 to play in the first half. Our first score is Buchholz 3 and GHS nothing from Citizens Field. And Bob, GHS has had the ball for only 3 plays this entire second period, and we've got a minute 48 to play.
Buchholz, this period, has asserted its offense a little bit more. It's not that the GHS defense is playing poorly. It's just that the Buchholz offense has finally gotten in gear, and they've consistently stuck to the ground attack. Alexander has not passed as he has been in recent weeks, and of course, the time is going to move off the clock very, very quickly when it doesn't stop with running plays as opposed to stopping on incomplete passes. But credit Buchholz, they've done what they wanted to do. They got themselves in a position to score. GHS finally did turn them back at the goal line. However, the Bobcats did come away with a score and now lead it 3-0. But I'm sure that there really isn't that much concern on the GHS sideline, only being down 3-0, less than 2 minutes to go in the first half. This is where they want to be, right in the ball game, no doubt about it.
The Cats started that drive in good position at the GHS 48, and the big play was a 22-yard run by fullback Wayne Moore. And now David Frazier will kick it off. Barney Walker, Tony Haywood, and Al Kaysen deep.
What about the lane, Dave?
And now instead of Gary Willis holding for this kickoff, they'll put it on the tee for David Frazier. This will be Kaysen at the 15. Nice move for a little guy, and gets to about the 30 before he's knocked out of bounds.
It always seems that those little guys, when they pick the ball up, Al Kaysen being the up man on the left side, they're the ones that always seem to be able to get up the sideline. You don't know how they did it by staying in bounds. They must have done it with mirrors, but Kaysen, nice return that time. And pretty good field position for GHS with 1:42 to go. And now we know that this quarterback, Keith Brown, has shown he is a good passer. He hasn't thrown too many balls in the first half tonight. Of course, as you said, GHS hasn't had the ball but a couple of plays in the second quarter.
And now with a power backfield, you have to believe GHS just looking not to make many mistakes, and they give off to Michael Howard, and Howard breaks one to the 35 to the 40. David Frazier is going to bring him down just short of midfield.
Michael Howard did a 360 at the line of scrimmage, bouncing off people like a ball in a pinball machine, and just went upfield. And of course, you see David Frazier looking at him. Frazier had a nice fake put on him by Howard. He just said, hey, there's your belt, and I'm just going to reach. And he almost grabbed there, but a nice tackle by Frazier, bringing down a man in the open field that's very tough to bring down anywhere.
17-yard gain from the 48. Give again to Howard. Howard to about midfield. Clock running a minute 13. Remember, GHS has used all 3 of its timeouts.
That's a very curious that call that time, 2 times in a row, trying to spring Howard. They did it once, and then you figure once you get upfield with the first down, the clock stops until the ball is spotted, that they would throw it because, as we said, GHS used his last timeout on defense in the last series. Now we're under a minute to go, and they've got a long way to go, 50 yards to get to the end zone.
Brown has Sean Say as his only wideout, and he's rolling left. But Sim Banks.
Sim Banks, who we haven't heard much from, just made his presence known. What speed! Obviously the fastest linebacker on the Bobcat team, absolutely ran down Keith Brown in the backfield. Came out of nowhere, and Brown never had a chance. Great play, great individual effort by Sim Banks. 3rd and 14 now for the Canes.
Brown give to Howard again. Howard is to the 48 and to midfield before Todd Harrison spins him down.
Harrison was able to get one handful, and he brought him down, and no more damage that time as GHS out of timeouts. As the clock runs out and we move to halftime. Very, very good ball game we've got on our hands, Ken.
You were expecting an offensive showdown. The GHS Hurricanes just didn't want to let that happen at their expense. We go to halftime, and it's just 3-0. Buchholz leading Gainesville High. Sherman, one of the men there.
14, Carl Sherman. First down for the Bobcats, just short of their own 35.
Carl Sherman on the special teams making the stop for GHS as we start the second half. 8 seconds gone by, and 35-yard line for Clint Alexander, the senior, looking for all-state mention. Already has a lot of scholarship offers, and he'll start things off for the Cats.
He'll have Johnny Dickerson and Lamar Thomas slot right, give to Keith Howell. Howell bends his way to the 39-yard line.
Again, Gainesville shooting the linebackers. Linnell Singleton coming through hard that time. And the handoff that time went, as you saw, to Keith Howell. Singleton had an arm on him, but he got through for a pretty good gain, about 7 yards. And tack on more as it's a personal foul against GHS. So Canes not starting things off right here in the third quarter.
They've got an aggressive defense. It's been a little too aggressive for its own good at times tonight.
15-yard penalty. First down, Bobcats.
And that'll set the Cats up at the 46-yard line of GHS. Alexander gives to Howell again, and then on the trap play, and he's down to the 41-yard line.
And up goes to Keith Howell. Stopped initially by Mordew and Gene Scott.
Seems like Al Warnke is going to be content to just grind this drive out. He knows he's got some fine running backs. He's got about 6 of them. He can shuttle them in and out, keep a fresh back in at all times, and hold on to the football and run some time off. Pick up yardage. And on second down, this is Jimmy Norman. And Norman is across the 40 and across the 35 and drags Al Moore with him to about the 33 or 32.
Moore hanging on for dear life. Bad news for GHS in this series that the offensive line of Buchholz, which was largely ineffective, to be quite honest, in the first half, has really asserted itself here in the second quarter and is blowing GHS off at the line of scrimmage. Linebackers have been the ones making the tackles here.
Norman got 8 for the first down from the 33-yard line of GHS. John McLean and Lamar Thomas, the wide receivers to the right. Alexander give inside to Howell again, and Howell again dragging a defender with him down to the 25-yard line. And another flag down.
Buchholz got a nice trap block that time from offensive guard Robbie Ward. Al Cason came through, looked like he was going to make the play in the backfield, but Ward came across to make a nice block to get him out of the play. And another personal foul after a big gain against GHS. And here's a situation how different a half is. Buchholz could do nothing against GHS first quarter. Second quarter, they're going down there almost as if they're running.
This is a big one. Down to the 12-yard line of GHS.
Canes now find themselves in the same predicament they found themselves at the end of the second half. In the shadow of its own goal. Personal foul first, and at about the 12. And I think we're going to have a timeout as GHS, I'm sure, wants to talk things over defensively.
Next week for district game against Lake Weir, Friday night at 8 p.m. At the Bobcat fans.
And this is what Buchholz wanted to do at the beginning of the game that they were unable to do. GHS defensively set the tone in the first half, and as a result, that carried through the entire first half. GHS really was the team. If this was a boxing match, although Buchholz leads 3-0, I would have given the round, as it were, to GHS in the first half.
For a game against Ed White at Citizens Field.
Good crowd here tonight as it's turned into a nice night in between the raindrops. And now Todd Harrison will be in on the tight end for the Cats. 10:16 to play, third quarter from Citizens Field in Gainesville. Ken Tomash, Bob D'Alessio with you on Cox Cable Aids High School Football Game of the Week. Buchholz with a 3-0 lead over GHS, and the Cats have a first down and 10 at the Hurricane 12-yard line. Keith Howell and Jimmy Norman in the eye behind Clint Alexander. Give to Norman. Norman down inside the 5, and he's in for the touchdown, standing up.
Young sophomore breaking tackles, hit the hole very quickly. Bounced off Linnell Singleton, Corey Jenkins into the end zone like there was nothing to it.
For Norman, his 4th touchdown of the year.
Remember, on our last telecast of Buchholz 2 weeks ago against the East Side, Norman was injured and was removed from the game in the second half, and it's good to see that he is back from that injury.
And now, as we saw against East Side 2 weeks ago, the Cats lined up to kick the point after and instead shoveled the ball out to John Algini. He went in for the 2-point conversion, but we've got a flag down, and it's going to be a procedure penalty against the Cats to move them back.
Yeah, Cats were not set on that play. It's an alignment they use every once in a while. We've seen it once this year, but they were not ready for it and didn't have it aligned properly that time, and it's going to come back.
Illegal procedure against Buchholz.
Cats, I'm sure now will try to kick it here as they're going to lose 5 yards to back to the 8-yard line.
Number 3, Kane Alexander, the holder. Number 5, Robert McCarthy, is the kicker.
Now apparently the Cats will kick it for real. Kane Alexander, Clint's little brother, to hold. From the 15, McCarthy, no good. Wide left.
A lot of pressure coming from the outside from Stan Pardue. He did not get a hand on it, but he rushed the kick, and McCarthy missed. So, it's a 9-0 ball game, and that point may or may not tell a story down the road.
Score now, Buchholz 9 and Gainesville 0.
Very interesting, Ken, that Buchholz could not score until the last 2 minutes of play in the first half, and they come out and score in the first 2 minutes of play in the second half.
Maybe they figured something out. I think for GHS to get back in this ball game, they're going to have to get their passing game on track. They were 0 for 2 in the first half, throwing the ball with Keith Brown. As David Frazier kicks off, Al Kaysen again from the 7. Kaysen hit hard. 81, James Dennis with a nice hit. And Kaysen gets out across the 20 to the 21-yard line.
Kaysen didn't like getting hit that hard. Johnny Taylor came through and made a nice smack on the play. GHS will put it in first and 10. I think you're right. I'm very surprised that they only threw the ball twice in the first half. I know they were getting some good running from their backfield, particularly Michael Howard, but they got to put it up a little bit more and keep that defense honest.
Now T.J. Weekland and Tim Taylor, the wideouts for Keith Brown. Al Moore and Michael Howard in the eye behind him. Give to the first man through. Al Moore, and Moore breaks it. He may go a long way. David Frazier has an angle on him, and he's going to try to get him. He leaps and brings him down to the 25-yard line of Buchholz.
All the way down to the 24. I don't know what happened there on defense. It's all of a sudden, Buchholz was standing around as if to tuck their pants in. They weren't ready, and there goes Al Moore, and by the time he was in the secondary with nobody behind him, David Frazier says, I think I better chase him down. 54-yard play. Is that what you call a quick opener?
That was about as quick as it gets. And Al Moore, the senior, 191 pounds, going like a sprinter on that play before David Frazier got the angle on him and was able to bring him down to the 25. First and 10 now. And Howard, the ball carrier, he's down to about the 21-22.
I'll tell you how quick Michael Howard is. He went to that line, he had a thought about hurdling, and he did himself a stutter step, and in mid-hop, he sort of looked like a triple jumper, changed his mind about diving when he saw the hole open up and just scooted through for a couple of extra yards.
At the 21.
His legs are quicker than his mind, I'm afraid, and he just really is just quick with the reaction, and started going up and then a little stutter step and made about 3.
Now Robert Garrett, the lone wide out to the left. And Brown will give again to Howard. Howard has the legs going, but Not going forward anywhere.
Once again.
Kane Alexander, one of the men in on the stop.
Very curious Al Warnicki's strategy, I should say Gunnar Paulson's strategy in this game, the head coach of GHS, Ken. They have been constantly, the entire game, running at the strength of the Buchholz defense, the interior line. And they've had success at it. And they just keep plugging and plugging and plugging. And something's going to give. Again, 2 passes only that they have thrown in the ball game, both incomplete. They've stuck to the running game, which has been the big surprise of this ball game.
Now Tim Taylor and Corey Jenkins are wide left, but we've got a flag before play can get started. And the Canes took too much time.
Inexperienced sophomore quarterback that time, a little trouble getting them out. It was a different set that time. They sent Linnell Singleton in a slot left, and maybe had a little trouble setting that new look offense up, and it cost them 5.
Nadir Fakimi, the Gainesville place kicker, warming up on the sideline just in case he's called on to try to tie this game up. But for now, it'll be 3rd and 12 from the 27-yard line. Corey Jenkins in the slot, Tim Taylor the wide out left. Brown back to pass, pressured and dropped. Sim Banks, his second sack of the night, back at the 37-yard line.
By Rodney Young and Sim Banks.
There's a good reason why they haven't gone to the passing game. Sim Banks. Very speedy linebacker, and he's the man who in the middle of the field that keys on that quarterback, especially when they're set with him one man in the backfield, passing situation like that, and he just came after him. There's a rollout to the left, hard rush came from the right side, but Sim Banks came shooting through, and really, quarterback never had a chance, and Brown went down.
And now Sartain will be looking for the corner. It's a spiral, but it goes into the end zone for the touchback. So with 7:14 to play in the 3rd quarter, Buchholz leading GHS 9-0. The Cats will open up shop at their own 20-yard line, 1st and 10 after the touchback.
Sartain has been, as we said, kicking those line drives all game long, and we got a feeling he's going to zero in. He's getting closer and closer, and before this game is out, I'm sure GHS is going to need Sartain to put one out deep in Buchholz territory.
So the Cats in a slot right with Lamar Thomas, the slot man, and John McClain, the wide man. Backs in an eye, give to Keith Howell, the first man through. He's stacked up at the line of scrimmage.
Howell just does not stop.
Carrier for Buchholz, number 26, Keith Howell. Stopped by number 40, Corey Jenkins.
And Willie Johnson made the first hit in the backfield. I think he was a little surprised that he got in untouched.
No gain.
Howell bounced off him, bounced off about 3 more people. That's the hardest work in 6 inches he's ever going to make in his life.
Clock running, 6:39 to play 3rd quarter. Now Johnny Dickerson into the split end. Keith Howell and Jimmy Norman, the backs behind Clint Alexander. We've got another flag. And now the Cats have taken too much time.
4th down is go after it.
We mentioned a moment ago that the sophomore quarterback, Keith Brown, had trouble getting his team out. You don't usually see a delay a game when you got an experienced quarterback, especially one as mentally alert as Clint Alexander. So maybe we got a quick clock. Buchholz gives that 5 yards back. It'll be about 2nd and 15 as no gain on that previous run.
The back's the same. Slot moves to the left side. Alexander back to pass on 2nd and 15. Looking wrong for Thomas. Thomas leaps and gets it to the 40-yard line. Over the top of Barney Walker. Lamar Thomas using that great leaping ability we saw earlier when he tried to snag a pass in the end zone. Great athlete.
Can't really fault GHS's defense on that. 3 men got through. They were in Alexander's face. He stands 6'4", and when you get a guy in front of the quarterback, very often it will mess up his throw, his follow-through. But Alexander got a nice strong throw off to Thomas that time, and Thomas caught it in between a couple of defenders. So just a great play by Buchholz on offense that time. Nicest play they've had all game, as a matter of fact.
First down from the 40-yard line of Buchholz. GHS fakes the blitz, and now they're coming, but Jimmy Norman leaps and bounds to the 45-yard line. Call it the 46.
Jimmy Norman, number 10.
Norman got away from Al Moore, who had a hold of him on the outside, but again, Gene Scott came up and Those cornerbacks of GHS really supporting the run very well, and they're coming in hard, low, and you saw Norman get upended by Gene Scott. He's really coming into his own as a defensive back now, having been the starting quarterback last year and early this season.
5.5 minutes to play in the third quarter. On second down to keep Howell. Howell outside. Keeps his legs moving and gets the first down and then some as he's across midfield and down to the 45-yard line of GHS. 10-yard gainer for Howell.
55, Charlie Morris.
Buchholz taking charge here, asserting themselves much like they did in the first series. Ben Walters, number 80 for GHS, the defensive end, came out of that huddle limping, and I believe he's going to be replaced in the game. Looks like Stan Pardue is going to come in, and yes, Ben Walters comes out of the game now.
First down, give again to Norman. Norman takes 3 hits, and he's still going. Down to the 43.
Bobby came through.
GHS's defense, Bobby Guerriere came through, but Norman got by him. Al Moore was there, and then had to struggle by Gene Scott to get him down. Third man it takes to bring down Norman. He's only a sophomore. We said the first couple of times we had Buchholz on the air here on Channel 8 that this guy's got a great future ahead of him.
He's still in there with Keith Howell, the fullback, and Lamar Thomas, the flank right. Give again to Norman on the trap, but this time the Canes have fumbled. There's a fumble. Stan Pardue, I believe, picked up the football. The Canes forced the big turnover.
Al Moore was the one that made the big hit at the line of scrimmage. He sniffed out that trap, and the man who fell on it was Bobby Guerriere, who had good penetration on the previous play. So the first turnover of the second half breathes new life into Gainesville, as now maybe the momentum will switch. It's been all Buchholz this second half thus far. 4:15 remaining and counting here in the third quarter.
From their own 44-yard line, Keith Brown has his Hurricanes 1st and 10. Give to Al Moore, first man through. Moore with another, breaks another one, and he's down to the 40-yard line. David Frazier tripped him up finally at the 39.
It's amazing how GHS is able to break these big first down plays. Again, the secondary. David Frazier that time making the tackle, but GHS has been swinging men open for big gains on first down. Very interesting. That time a 16-yard gain for the Canes.
Hurry, hurry, hurry. Gotta hurry up.
Call at the 40, 1st and 10. The power backfield in for GHS. Give to Howard. Howard to about the 35, 36-yard line.
Stop by Hudson.
Tough yardage that time for Howard. Big Robbie Hudson, the left defensive end for Buchholz, making the tackle. 3:20 remaining. Still a very, very interesting ball game, and I got a feeling it's going to get much more interesting as we go along.
Giving into Howard. Howard says hello to Kevin Peoples, but Kevin Peoples liked the introduction a little bit more than Howard did.
We've talked about the young sophomore Jimmy Norman, the running back, what a great future he has. How about George Fleming, who made that big hit right there, only a sophomore. Fleming weighs in about 230. Mentioned earlier in the year the East Side cafeteria. Look at Fleming, you know they're eating pretty good on the west side of town also.
3rd and 6 from the 36. Again, the power backfield for GHS. And Brown looking to throw. He's got Linnell Singleton to the 25-yard line. Brown completes his first pass of the night, and he picks a good time to do it as he hits Singleton down to the 25, an 11-yard gain, and has the first down.
Hey, it was the play action that time. Good execution by Keith Brown. Seaborn McCrae was frozen just enough to get behind the play. Pascal Williams, the safety, saw the play develop, but as the free safety, when a ball goes out into the flat like that, no chance for him to make the play. Seaborn McCrae hesitated a little bit, and it was a nice completion. First one of the game for the Canes.
Now on first down, they give us to Howard. And Howard coughs at the football, but I believe GHS fell on it about the 18-yard line. And alert Al Moore got it.
Howard was hit hard by number 84, Todd Harrison. Harrison's made a couple of big plays on defense, but Linnell Singleton made the recovery upfield. So it actually turns out for a big game for the Canes, actually a first down.
Well, it'll be just short, actually. It'll be about a 7-yard gain after all is said and done.
Gain of 6 on the run and 2 on the fumble. Second down and 2 for the Canes after the 18.
And now another timeout. Gunnar Paulson's crew will face a 2nd and 2 from the 18-yard line.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ken. I believe this is the deepest penetration now at GHS in the ballgame.
Oh, as Yogi would say, we'll look it up. Yes, it is. They got down to the Buchholz 36 in the first quarter.
Don't forget, fans, the game
Now from the 18 on 2nd and 2.
The program is on sale by quarterback club members in the stand. In the fourth quarter, we'll be giving away speeders.
Well, Coach Paulson is satisfied that his offense knows what it's going to do. Coach Warnke similarly satisfied with his defense, and we'll see who's satisfied when it's all over. 2nd and 2 from the 18.
Buchholz better be careful. This is a play where they can run that option and do whatever they want, play action, pass, anything.
Instead, they give off inside to Singleton, and the big fullback is down to the 15, should have the first down.
GHS now, that gives you, sets the tone of it. GHS is sticking to their game plan. They didn't try to open it up with a little trick play. They went with the draw play that time to Singleton, picked up the first down, which is what they want to do. GHS continuing to stick to its game plan, grind it out against Buchholz. They were probably the only ones coming into this game that they thought they could move the ball like this against Buchholz, and they've done it pretty well thus far. Now they need points to show for it.
First down, and Howard gets the call. Inside the 15, maybe to the 13.
Stop made by Dale.
Dale Warren came up from the safety position, good run support, but Howard stretching his body forward for a couple of extra yards. Howard really has done everything this game. Barney Walker has not seen that much action as tailback, as they've gone with Howard in his first start, and Howard's pretty much doing it all.
Under a minute to play now, 55 seconds to play in the third quarter. The Canes threatening for the first time in this ball game, down 9-0. Now 2nd and 9 from the 14. Rolling left is Brown, looking into the end zone. He hits Tim Taylor, but I don't believe Taylor, no, he could not come up with the ball. As he slid to the ground, the ball went with him.
Good call that time by GHS in that they came in with the power backfield. They showed run. And that time they did have Barney Walker in the backfield along with Singleton and Al Moore. Power backfield. Looked as though they were going to come straight up the middle as they had been. They set up the pass and just off the fingertips of Taylor and incomplete.
So they'll face a 3rd and 9 now from the 14-yard line, and clock stopped with 37 seconds to play in the third quarter. Corey Jenkins split wide left. And Brown is back and looking for Jenkins on a fade, and Jenkins makes the catch, and he's in the end zone for the touchdown. Nice timing pattern there as he out-leaped Pasco Williams for the ball and the touchdown. And GHS is on the board with 31 seconds to play in the third quarter.
Two games in a row, Corey Jenkins in the end zone for GHS. There is a flag down now. It may be just a delay of game for GHS. We'll have to wait and see. But the Canes score, and now they wave it off with 31 seconds to go.
Canes get things set, and Fakimi's kick is blocked. Lamar Thomas got in very quickly. There was some confusion on the GHS special teams. The kick was blocked, and now there's another flag down.
No, he's okay.
Lamar Thomas, you said, came through. GHS had some confusion there.
Procedure against the Canes is declined.
As they had a man coming on the field late. Looked like Sean Say was the last man on the field. So on the confusion, a block kick, and that now evens it up for Buchholz missing an extra point earlier in the game. So now 9-6, each team with a touchdown, each team with a field goal, and then a missed extra point. And again, as we said, Ken, right now you have to rate this fight just about even. And it looks like it's going to go 10 rounds.
Turn the sound up. Turn the sound up.
Sartain will kick it off with Pasco Williams and John O'Gainey deep. Pasco Williams from the 10. Falls down at the 24. Stan Pardue was down there, but Pasco had slipped on the wet ground at the 24.
That was it. He wasn't brought down. Pardue was down there, but again, the wet field coming into play, and now field position is going to be a very big part of this game. Buchholz helped GHS. Buchholz turned the ball over. The Canes moved it and got it into the end zone. They've shown they can run the ball. They just haven't been able to move it the entire length of the field against Buchholz. So these two are going at each other, but that time Buchholz helped GHS out, and it resulted in a score.
Now with 9 seconds to play in the third quarter, Ken Alexander faces a 1st and 10 from the 24, but I believe Mickey Mulberry, the tight end, jumped before the snap.
Well, we'll wait for the call from the officials, and it's a procedure penalty against the Bobcats, signaled by referee Bill McCall. Working today with Ralph Messer, the umpire, Roddy Grubbs, the line judge, Jim Stevens is the lineman, back judge is Hunter Edwards, and the clock operator is Pat Eldridge. And in a big game like this, they're going with a 5-man crew on the field. We've seen mostly 4-man crew on the field thus far, so that just shows you the importance of this game, that the MFOA decides to go with a 5-man crew on the field.
5-yard penalty, and Alexander's back to pass on 1st and 15, and he's got Lamar Thomas to the 30, 35 and out of bounds. Corey Jenkins and Barney Walker pushed him out of bounds at the 36 as the third quarter comes to a close. We've got 12 minutes to go, and if they're anything like the first 36, they're going to be a heck of a 12 minutes. Stay with us. Cox Cable 8's high school football game of the week from Citizens Field. Buchholz leads JHS 9-6, fourth quarter to come.
And once again this week, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to give away a $5 gift certificate to Skeeter's Breakfast House. The winner must look in their program. The first winner tonight will look on page 32 of your program. If Ed Van Gelder's signature is on page 32 of your program, take it to the East Side concession stand for your Skeeter's gift certificate. That's it, tonight's program. Look on page 32.
We start the fourth quarter with a 1st and 10 from the 36-yard line for the Bobcats, who lead 9-6. Keith Howell gets the ball, and he's across the 40 to the 41 before Frank Lewis brings him down.
Really getting exciting here at Citizens Field, Ken. Buchholz band going wild on the sideline. The fans are whooping it up here as we move to the fourth quarter of play. 9-6. Again, GHS has not beaten Buchholz since 1980. This is the closest they've been in a long, long time.
Clint Alexander with that pass to end the third quarter. Now 7 of 11 for 130 yards in the ball game. He's been the hot hand so far, and he gives this time up inside to Jimmy Norman. And Norman is to the 47-yard line.
Jimmy Norman, number 10.
Should be the first down.
As talented as Jimmy Norman is, he can't get yardage like that without some holes opening up, and that time Harold Monk and Robbie Ward, the offensive center and offensive guard, respectively, on that side for Buchholz, threw nice blocks to get for a big gainer for Jimmy Norman, and a first down for the Cats.
Howell and Norman in the eye. Lamar Thomas and Johnny Dickerson, the wideouts, give to Norman. Al Kaysen brings him down at the 45.
I said it last week, and I'll say it again. I don't know how Al Kaysen can do that. He's only about 165 pounds. They list him as 170. Maybe that's you know, on a rainy day like tonight. But how he can beat his blocks and just get over there untouched and take people down in the backfield just amazes me. But Kaysen seems to do it once every half.
10:22 to play in the game. Buchholz with a 9-6 lead and a 2nd and 12 from their own 45. Alexander back to pass. He's got John McClain across midfield and down to the 42-yard line of Gainesville.
Boy, Tim Taylor barely held on enough before that tackle was made. But Alexander has not thrown as much as he had in recent weeks, but when he has, he's been on target. And now Coach Warnicki seems to be mixing things up. And something we didn't see in the first half, he's stretching the defense sideways. You've seen a pass to Pascal Williams, and that one to McClain. They're working the sideline that time, looking to stretch this GHS defense.
First down from the 42. Alexander to Normand, and Normand is to the 40.
Jimmy Normand on the carry. Trips up 5. Ben Walters.
Clock moving, 9.5 remaining in this ball game. 9-6. Buchholz still leads, and that'll be about 2nd and 9 after a gain of 1 for the Cats.
From the 41. Alexander gives inside again to Howell. Howell meets with a host of GHS defenders, but he gets to about the 40, maybe the 39.
Big change, of course, this week for GHS is having Matt Fuller, who's built like a fire hydrant right in the middle of that defense. And Fuller that time sniffed out the trap. He's a tough man to move in the middle of that line. Made a nice solid hit, and it brings up a 3rd and long, and a key down defensively right here for GHS. And you got to believe Alexander's going to go to the air here. Let's watch Dickerson.
He's been on a hot streak that started with our game against Eastside a couple weeks ago. And he's back to pass again off the hands of Lamar Thomas. Thomas might have taken his eyes off it. Tim Taylor was defending. So the pass goes incomplete on 3rd down, so it'll bring up 4th.
Tim Taylor was on defense that time. I don't think had he caught it, it would have been good enough for the 1st down. But GHS, you know, they practiced that tip drill, and Tony Hayward was coming up. And had that ball been tipped a little bit higher, Hayward had nothing but green pasture in front of him to the end zone. So incompletion, and GHS holds, and they're going to get the ball back.
4th down from the 40. Tony Hayward is deep.
All the way, coach. All the way.
Dickerson gets the kick away.
Oh, nice.
Roll, but
oh boy,
into the end zone for a touchback. 40-yard punt, and the touchback sets up GHS 1st and 10 from their 20.
Dickerson wasn't worried about his yardage there. He's averaging about 40 yards, but he'd like to have one under 40 that time. That went about 6 inches too long. But you could see the way that wet field was holding the ball up, but not quite enough before it got to the goal line. Good effort by Johnny Dickerson, probably the best athlete on the Buchholz team.
So now with 8:23 to play in the game, and the Canes on the short end of a 9-6 score, Keith Brown will try to take them on one long drive, eat up some clock, and get a score. They're going to win for the first time since 1980. Give to Howard. Howard is across the 20 to about the 22.
Boy, this hitting has just gone on and on right from the time they put their chin straps on. Stephen McCray made a hard hit right in midair, but Howard was able to land on his feet somehow and pick up another yard or 2. Stephen McCray, nice hit right there in the middle.
Now on 2nd and 8, Sean C. and T.J. Weekland will be the wideouts. Keith Sartain, the tight end, Baxton and I, Barney Walker and Linnell Singleton. Pitch right to Barney Walker. Walker gets a block, and he's down to about the 24.
Barney Walker, the ball carrier, number 24 for the Canes. Gain of 2 yards.
That'll bring up a crucial 3rd down and 6 for the Canes from their own 24.
Again, we've got the Buchholz defense asserting itself, and now it's at the point of the game where GHS is going to have to start opening up because now the clock's against them. If they don't get it down on this possession, they can figure to have only one sure possession more.
Weekland and Taylor, the wideout, 7:08 to play and the clock running. 3rd and 6 from the 24. But give instead to Singleton, and Singleton wrapped up almost immediately.
Quite surprised on that call, to be honest, Ken. I thought they'd go to the air on that one. Now we're under the 7-minute mark. GHS is going to have to give the ball up. Looks as though Buchholz is going to get good field possession. So really, the onus is going to be on the GHS defense to stop them or force a turnover right here. Again, GHS is going to need some help right now to pull this game out.
And as you said, sometime they were going to need Keith Sartain, and they could use him now. Again, the snap bounces to him. He gets away, a line drive, a short kick. Thomas will pick it up from his own 45 and starts across the midfield, and he's there before being brought down by Al Moore.
Thomas picked it up on the hop. Got a nice run back thanks to a good block by Daniel Schaefer, who was his up back that time. Threw a nice block. And again, very, very good field position as once again, Buchholz appears will start from the 49. Remember, they started from the 49 last time they scored, but again, we've got a flag now against Buchholz. Oh boy.
The Cats had too many men on the field. There was some confusion on the defense.
What a break for GHS. Unbelievable.
A 15-yard penalty. You said they were going to need some help. What more could you have asked for?
Wow. Oh, Coach Warnick just pulling his hair out on the sideline. Unbelievable blunder that time, as Buchholz was in a position to really take some time off the clock, and they would have started in GHS territory, and now the Canes are going to get the ball almost where the punt went to. At the 40.
Legal participation against the Bobcats.
Remember, they only need a field goal now to tie, so it's not that much field. GHS has not been able to mount a sustained drive the length of the field. They have been able to move it 30 to 40 yards, however, and that's about what they need for a field goal.
And on first down from the 40, give it to the first man through. And Al Moore is down to the 45-yard line.
Can you feel it in the air? Just a little bit change in the attitude, a little bit change in the feeling about this game. All of a sudden, the GHS sidelines and the enthusiasm had seemed to go out of them a little bit. And then you saw the hands start to clap when they saw that yellow flag down there. And now GHS has really a golden opportunity, and perhaps their last opportunity, to either tie or take this game away from the Cats.
Weekland and C, the wideouts, Al Moore and Michael Howard. And this is Howard. Howard wrapped up and hit hard, but he keeps running. Kevin Peoples laid a good lick on him at about the 45, but he spun out of it.
Todd Harrison, I think, was the first man to make that hit, and his arm couldn't bring Howard down, and now Harrison is down. I wouldn't doubt if he had an arm injury, because I think it was his right arm which was trying to pull Howard down, and see the way how hard he runs. But that's Todd Harrison down there in the middle of the field, and he's going to need some attention. We just hope he's not too seriously injured.
We have two winners tonight for gift certificates to students.
Harrison, a very valuable person
You have a hurricane program.
for Buchholz, plays offense and defense. Not that many people on this team that play both ways, but Harrison is one of them, and that says something right there. Big senior, plays about 215, and he's a prospect for college.
Take your program to the east side.
Now he's getting up, maybe just shook up. And good to see that Todd Harrison is walking off under his own power.
Pitcher Bobcat number 84, Todd Harrison.
Let's see, Lennon Soul is in the game for Buchholz. And I don't know if that's his replacement or not. The first time we called his name. Let's look at that end position.
Now 3rd and 3 from the 47. Brown is back to pass, being pressured, and he's going to be sacked. Rodney Young and Clifford Bell were in on him on the 3rd down play, and that'll snuff out the drive of the Hurricanes.
Well, Bell was the one that turned that play out. He made some good penetration. By the way, looked as though Robbie Hudson is the man who came in and is now playing that position for Harrison. Great defensive effort by Buchholz as they stop GHS in its tracks, and the Cats have to give it up.
Snap rolls to Sartain again, but he gets off a decent kick. Lamar Thomas sees it bounce. Now he's going to get away from it before it can touch him. That'll be down inside the 25 at the 23-yard line. 4:26 to play in the game. The Cats looking to run it out and preserve a 9-6 lead. The Canes are going to look to get a big turnover or force them 3 plays and punt and get the ball back one last time.
That was a smart move by Thomas. I thought for a second there he had an inkling to take it on the hop, but the ball wasn't that close to him, and wisely he got away, because if that ball just touches any part of you or a teammate, it's a live ball. And with all those purple shirts down there, you don't want that to happen at this stage of the game. Here we go for the biggest series of the ball game and in the city thus far this season.
And before we can get it underway, the Canes are going to take another timeout.
Buchholz and Gainesville High fans are reminded.
Tough time to take a timeout,
Will be replayed
because they're going to need that
cable channel 8.
to move the ball if they're going to get that last
And Bobby Gillespie.
offensive series going to put that tying or winning score on the scoreboard. So now, let's check, is that 1 or 2 timeouts they have left, GHS?
Our broadcast on channel 8 on Cox Cable Saturday night at 8 p.m.
I believe they've taken 2 and have but 1 left.
Tough predicament to put a young sophomore in wherever they get this ball. Anticipating that GHS does get the ball back to move it against the Buchholz team, which is, to put it quite conservatively, stingy.
The Cats were only giving up under 156 yards a game in total offense coming into this game. They held GHS to just 31 yards in the first half. The Canes got untracked a bit in the third quarter and scored a touchdown on a 14-yard pass from Keith Brown to Corey Jenkins. It's 9-6 as the Cats open up from their own 24-yard line to give off inside to Keith Howell, and Howell is to about the 27, 28-yard line.
Ken, that's a good first down call for Coach Warnicki. 5 yards on first down. 2 first downs and this game is over. It's up to GHS to do it right here.
Hey, we got to stop him right here.
3:44 to play in the game. 2nd and 5 from the 29. Alexander with the give to Norman. Norman gets by the tackle of Tony Hayward and has the first down and more as he keeps bouncing off people before they finally put him out of bounds at the 41-yard line.
No point in running down the numbers of the people he beat, but what a move he put on Tony Hayward. Hayward was looking to come up hard to stop him from getting that first down, and what a fantastic move by Jimmy Norman. Broke 6 tackles on that play, and the only thing good out of that play for GHS was that they drove him out of bounds to stop the clock. Jimmy Norman, absolutely spectacular.
3.5 minutes to play. Norman, just a sophomore, 5'10", 167. What a display of running he's put on tonight. 1st and 10 from the 41. Buchholz leading 9-6, and they give inside to Keith Howell. Howell's to about the 44.
Well, hard running by Howell. GHS stopped them for a gain of about 2 or 3, and this is the big play right here for GHS. This is the big play, because they have to force them into a long 3rd down yardage situation. GHS has to hold them for about 2 or 3 yards here max, or else they could be curtains.
3 minutes to play exactly. 2nd and 7 from the 44-yard line of Buchholz. The Cats leading 9-6. Alexander give to Norman. Norman tripped up by Willie Johnson as he crossed the 45-yard line.
Willie Johnson saw those fast feet coming at him, put his head down, and made the tackle. It's going to bring up a 3rd and about 5. So GHS did what it wanted to do. Held Norman to about 2 yards, 3rd and 5. Just going by percentages, GHS should stop them here and force a punt.
But now the Cats are going to take a timeout. I saw Lamar Thomas signal to the referee. Coach Al Warnicki wanted a timeout from the sidelines.
Well, this is an absolutely good call by Coach Warnicki, because he doesn't need his timeouts.
as the host.
He knows he's not going to get the ball back. It's either going to be, hey, Buchholz is going to give it up here, and GHS is going to win it or tie it, but he will not need these timeouts offensively down the road. So on a 3rd and 5, key crucial play right here. Good coach by the veteran coach, Al Warnicki, who now is participating in his 3rd Buchholz GHS game. Gunnar Paulson, in his 1st season at Gainesville, however, has seen several of these from the sideline as an assistant coach.
If this score holds out, it would be Coach Al Warnicki's 198th career coaching victory. That would leave him just 2 shy of the 200 mark. And if the Cats continue to be unbeaten, they could bring home his 200th for him on homecoming on October 31st on Halloween against Jacksonville Ed White here at Citizens Field. But right now we've got a 3rd and 5 from the 46. The Cats need to get just across midfield to get the first down and possibly ice the ball game. Alexander to throw. In and out of the hands of Lamar Thomas across midfield. So GHS will have the ball one more time.
Well, that's what that stop on 2nd down did. They forced Buchholz to make a decision, and they went after the timeout Coach Warnicki did to the pass. Had that been a 3rd and 3, they surely would have gone on the ground, at least to keep the clock moving. They threw it to Lamar Thomas, who, by the way, did clutch his calf on that play. I don't know if he got injured a little bit, but they will get it back for one last shot.
And the punter, number 88.
Tony Haywood standing at his own 24 as Johnny Dickerson gets it away. A high kick. Haywood will let it bounce. And it'll be down by Todd Harrison at the 21-yard line. So the Canes will have a long way to go and a short time to get there, as Jerry Reed says. 2:03 to play in the game, and then the short end of a 9-6 score from the 21, 1st and 10.
2:03 with only 1 timeout. The reason GHS is at a disadvantage here as the clock moves now is that they have been running to the middle. They got to use the sideline now, and that has not been in their game plan. So let's see if they try to break you-know-who, Michael Howard.
Corey Jenkins and Tim Taylor, the wideouts. Tony Haywood, Barney Walker in the backfield. Brown looking to throw. Looking long for Jenkins. Gary Willis was covering along with David Frazier. They were looking for Jenkins, but it was over his outstretched hands at midfield.
Number 47, Gary Willis.
Gary Willis that time, number 47, and of course, number 12, David Frazier, the free safety, double teaming on the long pass. I think, even though the situation with the time factor makes it be perhaps a questionable call, I think they ought to try something over the middle where they have a lot of space. Let's see if they try a quick slant in and then use their timeout.
Minute 38 to play. Instead, they get off up the middle this time.
Surprising.
On 2nd and 10, the give went to Al Moore.
Surprising thing about that call, Ken, is on an incompletion, if your play doesn't work, the clock stops. But if your trap or your draw play doesn't work, the clock keeps moving, and now GHS is in really big trouble.
With a minute 15 to play in the game, they face a 3rd and 8 from their own 23.
And they can't be taking this much time in the huddle. I mean, they've got a long way to go.
Pitch to Walker. Reverse to Jenkins. Jenkins gets outside, but he's brought down.
But there's a flag down, and they may have a late hit on Pasco Williams. If this is, it'll be unbelievable.
Ball carry on the reverse, Tim Taylor.
They may have called a late hit on the sideline.
Jenkins also on the play. Personal foul against the box.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Don't leave your television sets, folks. 49 seconds to play and yet another personal foul. This time against Buchholz will move GHS to their own 39-yard line and give them a first down.
That play was going nowhere, even though Gary Willis did get beat to the outside. Buchholz really had that thing strung out and covered. And now with 49 seconds left, to give them a first down and new life once again. Oh.
Clock running 43 seconds to play in the game. Brown back to pass. Pressured, looking long, but he was sacked and he fumbles the football, but they're going to call it incomplete. He was hit hard.
What a hit by George Fleming, that big sophomore we've talked about several times in this game. Keith Brown around trying to buy some time on that sprint out, faked one man, but never saw George Fleming coming, and he just had gotten his arm going forward enough for it to be ruled an incomplete pass. That was very close, to be honest.
They did stop the clock, though. 35 seconds to play in the game. 2nd and 10 from the 39 of GHS.
Again, I think the Canes could work something right in the middle for about 20 yards and then use their timeout. They need to get that ball upfield here. And that's the only part that's open.
Round to pass. Sacked again. Sebron McCray. Just one of the men in on that play.
Sebron McCray, Rodney Young, just too much Buchholz. Too many white shirts that time. As the Cats just not going to let this one be taken away from them. Just too determined, it seems, Ken.
And now the Canes will take their final timeout with 27 seconds to play in the game. Nadir Fakimi was holding a tee on the sideline. He was ready to go in and possibly tie this one up, but that sack now has taken the Canes way back.
Well, they need the son of Tom Dempsey right now. Again, now GHS has no timeouts left. They can only stop the clock 3 ways: on a penalty, on a ball, on the play going out of bounds after its completion, or on a first down. So that's 21 yards away. So you have to figure that they're going to have to work the sideline right here. It's 3rd and 21. So if they can get maybe 10 or 15 here and come up with a 4th down play to get the rest, they still might have enough time to work it to the sideline. I could see 3 more plays of offense being run right now. It's going to take a lot, but I've seen crazier things happen. But they've got to get 10 or 15 here anyway.
3 men wide right. T.J. Weekland, the only man wide left. Barney Walker, the only man in the backfield. And the pitch is to Gene Scott. And Scott is throwing for Taylor, and he's got Taylor to the 45-yard line. But it will
he did not get the first down. The clock is moving. And it's 4th down. Remember, it's 4th down. He can't throw the ball away.
4th down, Keith Brown throws it away. He was trying to hit Taylor. There's a flag down. Oh, my goodness. 2 seconds to play in the game. Procedure against the Canes.
It wouldn't have been enough anyway. It wouldn't have been enough anyway, Ken, because even if they caught it for a first down, too much clock and run out, and they were out of field goal range. So it's a great effort, but the ball goes over to Buchholz on downs. Again, GHS gave it a great run, but that small consolation, I'm sure, for the men in purple who really came close and wanted this one against Buchholz, their arch rival.
Procedure against the Canes is declined, and the Cats will take over. Just take 1 snap, and they'll have a 9-6 win, and their 6th straight victory over GHS. 2 seconds to play.
And now the realization finally setting in as the Cane players take off the helmets and try to console each other. But fantastic effort, but Buchholz just a little bit too strong for the Canes tonight. And I think another time the outcome would have been differently, but this was Buchholz's night, no doubt about it.
Alexander takes the ball and takes it to the ground, and time has expired. The final score from Citizens Field in Gainesville: Buchholz 9, Gainesville 6, but probably another great ball game.
Well, you know, Buchholz had a great defense coming in. The main question was, could Gainesville move the ball? They moved it in spurts. They made some big plays, especially with the great running back they have out of Michael Howard. But the one time they were able to mount the score, Buchholz helped them with a fumble in its own territory. So, although GHS did make it close, it was Buchholz's defense which was the dominating factor in this ball game, as it has been. But you have to credit Gainesville's defense. They've been playing well this year, and they did a great job against Buchholz today, with a couple of exceptions on some big plays.